And at 10:15, Tom Bell stars in the adult fairy tale The Magic Toy Shop. This is Yorkshire Television at 5 to 9. It's time for the ITN News.
The news from ITN.
Benefit shake-up, now Christmas bonus could be means tested. Police arrest 30 in acid house raids. Dukakis is catching up fast, say the polls. And at Twickenham, England kick off with a classic. Good evening. The government is considering cutting more state benefits to the better off. The pensioners' Christmas bonus and maternity allowances are among payments that could now be subject to means tests. The government says it's targeting payments at those in most need. But tonight, Labour's Mr Robin Cook said it would mean more people falling into the poverty trap.
What senior ministers want extended is what the Social Security Secretary John Moore is already doing. In freezing child benefit 10 days ago, he made clear that he was not only trying to target the benefit more precisely, but was also tackling what he calls the corrupting influence of benefit dependency.
Yes, most of us think that if we can encourage people out of benefits, it's to their advantage. Most people would believe that. Most people would want not to be reliant on benefits. And that then means, as a consequence, with the remaining benefit money, if we have money left, we can spend it more effectively.
Some other ministers, like Kenneth Clarke at Health, are already using the targeting principle. It's a major reason for his current stand on charges for eye and dental checkups. And as targeting is extended, some benefits like the old age pension won't be touched. The government is pledged to keep it uprated and paid to all who qualify. But ministers increasingly point to the fact that growing numbers of pensioners are quite well off. So, for example, the pensioners' Christmas bonus might be means tested to target it to the less well-off pensioners. Among other benefits to be looked at, maternity allowance may well be reviewed, and so may some of the payments made under sickness benefit. All of which will provoke fury among the opposition parties. Labour, for example, already points to the low take-up of many of the new targeted benefits, like income support and family credit, which came in the spring. And the government admits there is a problem there, though ministers hope a new advertising campaign to be launched shortly will tackle it.
Labour's Shadow Foreign Secretary, Mr Gerald Kaufman, has bitterly attacked Mrs Thatcher for her visit to Poland. He said it was a hypocritical ego trip, and he accused her of oozing syrupy sympathy to the Solidarity trade union while she trampled on the unions at home. More than 30 people have been arrested in police raids on acid house parties. Large amounts of drugs were said to have been found at a party on board 2 Thames pleasure boats. And several policemen were injured in a raid on a house at Sevenoaks in Kent.
300 people had paid to attend all-night parties on these Thames pleasure boats, but as they boarded the vessels just after 1 o'clock this morning, police moved in. Officers from the River Division sealed off the area as passengers and crew were questioned. Police say a substantial quantity of drugs was seized. 2 hours earlier, scuffles had broken out after police raided another acid house party at Sevenoaks in Kent. 250 people had packed the empty property. It took more than 60 police to restore order. The acid house craze has been causing concern for some time, with links being drawn between the music and drug taking at parties which can attract thousands of young people. Police say one major venue has been in this disused warehouse in North London. Early today, they closed it down, despite claims from organisers that they actively discourage drug taking.
We search people when they come in for things like drugs and weapons and things like that. Basically, we're trying to keep it our side of the law, because we know if we break the law, then they've got a right to come and stop us.
But police say they are acting to protect young people from a highly dangerous drug, and they'll intervene wherever they suspect acid house parties are being abused. Robert Hall, ITN, Central London.
Police in Thailand say 2 young men have confessed to murdering a British woman and her Irish friend. Helen Gregory from Cardiff and Louise O'Reilly from Cavan near Dublin were shot dead 2 weeks ago. The 2 men, aged 21 and 17, were picked up after their fishing boat was stopped by a police launch. The police say money and a tape recorder belonging to the women were found. Thousands of demonstrators have been fighting pitched battles with riot police in the South Korean capital of Seoul. The protesters were marching on the home of the country's former president, Chun Doo-hwan. They want him arrested on corruption charges. Hundreds of petrol bombs and rocks were thrown when police blocked their path.
Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets in 8 South Korean cities. Confrontation between students and police was inevitable. In the capital, Seoul, the scene of scores of previous riots, this was to be the most violent day for a year. Eventually, the police charged to flush the crowd into side streets. Snatch squads trained in martial arts were sent in, but several were overpowered by mobs. There were heavy police casualties. At least 10 were hurt when a firebomb was thrown into a Seoul police station. More petrol bombs were hurled on the streets as the protesters tried to force their way to President Chun's home. The violence still flared well into the night, and the capital was illuminated by dozens more firebombs.